Welcome back to the Nottingham podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. Chelsea have lost at the Stamford Bridge 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. An XG of 2.2 from Chelsea. They didn't score any goal from that expected number of goals. And of course, with an XG of 0.6, Nottingham Forest actually managed to get one and stay very, very calm, defensively disciplined, and they walked away with 3 points. Anthony Elanga, what a player they've signed there, Nottingham Forest. But I think the big questions will be on the side of Chelsea Football Club. I think the big question is, do they need a striker? Do they just need someone that can make the ball cross the line? Do they need a natural talisman? Do they need a natural target man? In my opinion, they do. In this video, going to be reviewing the 90 minutes. Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, picking up those major points as well for Chelsea, for Nottingham Forest as well. But Chelsea fans, talk to me in the comment box below. Do you think this is going to be a long season and your problems are not going to be solved anytime soon? Is Mauricio Pochettino enough to solve the problems at Chelsea, or it is still a little bit bigger than we expected? Now, for me, point number one is about that miss that Jackson actually missed, that chance that Jackson missed towards the end of the game. And I've always said that if you are in the Premier League, you will need goals at some point in time. You will need a pretty proven goal scorer. Chelsea are a top 4 side. They're top 6 side, and you expect them to be fighting for silverware here and there. You expect them to be pushing for silverware every single campaign. But the fact that you don't have a number 9, the fact that you get a clean chance, a very clear-cut chance in the 90th minute, and your only striker, who's Jackson, is having what is separating him and the goal is just 2 goalposts, and he puts that ball high and wide. That actually, speaks volumes. So for me, Chelsea, they played very well today, by the way. They dominated the game, created a couple of chances. I don't think their problem is creating chances or even opening up defenses. Their problem is that number 9. Their problem is when we actually create the chances after we have done all the work in the midfield and we have carried this ball into the final area. Can we finish off the work? Can we actually finish off the moves? I don't think they have that in the team. Mikhailo Modric is not a 10-20 goal scorer for you. I don't think Nicholas Jackson is a 20-30 goal scorer for you. The same as Noni Madueke, the same as all these other players that you have in the side. So right now, I don't think Chelsea are going to go to the market to find a striker. It's not going to happen. So maybe Christopher Nkunku coming back, whenever he will be back, it's going to be a crucial point for Chelsea's season. It's going to be a crucial point. But at the moment, they will need a striker. There are so many stadiums they're going to go to. Today they were at the Old Trafford. Today they were at the Stamford Bridge. They created so many chances. They played in a much more comfortable way. But when you go away to Forest, when you go away to clubs like Fulham, clubs that will press you, clubs that will push you to the edge, you might actually need that kind of goal scorer that will take your chances. Otherwise, Chelsea might actually find it harder to win games away than at this Stamford Bridge. So for me, point one, I looked at Jackson. I like the way he runs. I like the way he creates space for himself, utilizes the space that others are creating. But at the end of the day, as a striker, at the end of the day, if you are our number 9, if you're the player that is leading the line, we want you to be scoring goals and we want you to be getting onto the score sheet. I don't think Jackson is actually there yet. And his profile actually looks very, very different from the likes of Erling Haaland, the likes of Darwin Núñez, the likes of Alexander Isak. He's a good player, but is he a finisher? Is he a natural finisher? I just don't think he actually is. But the positive from Chelsea, and one thing you love about this game as a Chelsea fan, is the absolute domination. So you look at the statistics here, you actually ask yourself how Chelsea lost this game. 76% ball possession, 88% passing accuracy, 10 fouls in this game, 21 shots, but only 2 on target. That is where the problems come in again. But if you're a Chelsea fan and you've looked at this game and you're at the Stamford Bridge, there are 2 things you'll be thinking here. 1, we need to convert our chances. But 2, we are progressing to a certain level where we can actually dominate games and be on top of the opponent for huge amounts of the time, for huge amounts of the 90 minutes. So what we've seen today is this Chelsea side, literally keeping possession. Enzo Fernandez recycling the ball with the likes of, Madueke, with the likes of Mikhailo Modric in the second half, with the likes of, Jackson. They kept the ball and kept it and kept it. They've got the ability to win it back, which is actually very, very exciting. And then they've got the ability to keep it. So up to when you have 76% ball possession and 21 shots on goal, it is inexcusable for you not to win that game. It is absolutely inexcusable for you not to score in such a game. So the domination is a positive for Mauricio Pochettino, and Chelsea fans will love it. They'll be looking at a game where they played well but lost. It's so much better and it's so much different from last campaign. I think last campaign, Chelsea fans saw the worst Chelsea in their lives. They couldn't get hold of the ball. They couldn't control games. And it was simply a shambles. In this one, it wasn't a total shambles. Chelsea didn't actually play poorly. They had the ball for some parts of the game. They just failed to convert, right? So if they can convert that possession into chances and then into goals, it is much better. Point number 3, there was a defensive shambles from Chelsea, and we've got to agree. So look at the numbers again on the screen. 7 shots from Nottingham Forest, 3 on target. Nottingham Forest only had 228 passes and a passing accuracy of 62%. They only kept the ball for 24% of the time, of the 90 minutes, right? So what that actually shows you is Chelsea, despite the fact that they were in possession, they conceded more shots on target, and they actually gave away more quality chances than Nottingham Forest were. Of course, I'm going to talk about Nottingham Forest later on at the end of this video, how clinical they were and how well disciplined they were as well. But if you're Chelsea and you have 76% ball possession, there is no way how Nottingham Forest are creating better chances, and there is no way how Nottingham Forest look like the team that are going to win the game just like they did as compared to you. I think Nottingham Forest under Stephen Cooper, they're going to go back home, they will refresh, they will take a breath, and they'll go, this was the plan. And we actually followed the plan, and this should be the plan every single weekend. Right? You don't need a lot of possession. You don't need a lot of, glamorous signings and glamorous football. You just need to be on point, get a plan that works, follow that plan, make sure you follow it through, and eventually you will be all right. But there is a question as well. So Chelsea this summer have brought in Axel Disasi from Monaco. They have lost Fofana to injury for a long period of time. Do they actually need a centre-back? Did they need a centre-back? With Reece James out now, it becomes even more complicated because at right back, they're a little bit short. At centre-back, they're a little bit short as well. But what we've seen today is a defensive shambles from Chelsea. We've seen a Chelsea side that can easily get ripped up. Every time Nottingham Forest picked up the ball, they had the ability and they successfully cut through Chelsea. You can't allow that. Like, if you do that against Nottingham Forest, when you play Man United's, Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, they are going to absolutely walk through your team because they are high-quality players with a high-quality manager, with high-quality players around them. So Chelsea, there was a defensive shambles, and it has kind of exposed Axel Disasi. I love Axel Disasi, by the way. I kind of feel like he's one of those semi-transitional, semi-traditional players, like not modern, but not very, very traditional as well. So I like him, but in this game, there were holes in the Chelsea defense, in the Chelsea midfield, and those holes have been exploited defensively. You would have expected to have more defensive solidity, more defensive security, and assurance with a £100 million, Moises Caicedo, with a £50 million Romeo Lavia. You should have the defensive cover for your backline. And with players like Thiago Silva, Axel Disasi, and the rest of them, Chelsea should do much better defensively. But the problem with Chelsea, and this is my point number 4, the identity is not there. So Mauricio Pochettino, among all the things he's got to do, and we saw this, we saw a little bit of this in preseason. Mauricio Pochettino has got to find the right identity for this team. You know, it's one thing assembling 11 quality players, and it's another thing assembling 11 quality players in a quality system. I don't think Mauricio Pochettino has already gotten these players into a quality system and a quality way of football, of you know, playing football. Otherwise, we would see the patterns. We would see Chelsea struggling, but we would see the patterns. I don't see a clear pattern. I don't see a clear path of this is what Chelsea are trying to do. They're failing because they're in the initial stages of this kind of process. I just don't see it. If it was a manager like Pep Guardiola, you could see Chelsea trying to, you know, keep the ball a lot, recycle possession, and use the width of their players. If it was a manager like Erik ten Hag, they would be playing on the transition. It was Jurgen Klopp, you would see the wingers in action a lot of the time and the fullbacks in action a lot of the time. So for me, Mauricio Pochettino, before thinking about winning games, before thinking about impressing, whichever he wants to impress, he's got to create an identity, a structure for this Chelsea side in order for them to thrive, in order for them to become the team they want to become. There must be an identity. They must have a structure to follow. They must have an identity. Who are we? Who do we want to be? And where exactly are we coming from? I think this Chelsea side is not indicative of where they've been, where they're coming from. It is not indicative of where they're going. And certainly, it is not that there is no signs to show that this is what they're trying to do. So I think Mauricio Pochettino as manager has got to look at that as well. And there is a question, have they signed too many players? There is that lack of coordination, you know, that lack of coordination. Of course, it comes from the fact that this is a multicultural, you know, institution at Chelsea. And these players are coming from different backgrounds, different schools of education, and therefore all that knowledge and everything they have must be harnessed into one jar of knowledge. At the moment, yes, that is not yet there. But have they signed so many players? There is nothing like a core at this Chelsea side. Like when you look at a team like Arsenal, you see Mohamed Elneny. You look at now Rob Holding is gone. You know, you look at some of these players, they've been signed in phases, right? In phase 1, Thomas Partey and Gabriel Magalhaes were signed. In phase 2, Ramsdale, Ben White, and Odegaard were signed. In phase 3, Zinchenko, Vieira, and Jesus were signed. In phase 4, Rice, Timber, and Kai Havertz. These Chelsea players that have cost $1 billion have been signed in one phase. They've been signed in 1 year. And there's a lot of confusion. There's so many players. Cole Palmer just came on the pitch and he looked very lost. He's not the Cole Palmer we've seen at Manchester City. You ask your question, you know, yourself a question. Noni Madueke, why sign Mikhailo Modric and then Noni Madueke, right? And then it just doesn't make sense for me. You know, Chelsea fans, talk to me about your signings. Now, for Nottingham Forest, we shall actually discuss this tomorrow, you know, in the review, right? In the Premier League review. But Forest did two things in this game. They were clinical, very clinical, and they were very disciplined. So, shout out to Anthony Elanga. 48 minutes in, he gets that chance and buries it. He was a very, very deadly weapon for Chelsea this evening. But if you're Nottingham Forest, and we have already seen this with Forest this campaign, this is game number 4 for them this campaign. They have beaten Sheffield by just being clinical, right? They get that goal that matters, and the rest is history. And then that defensive discipline for them to come at the Old Trafford, so at the Stamford Bridge, and just be calm, Just be, disciplined. Stay on the manager's orders. Stay in shape. Stay compact. Don't allow spaces for Chelsea. Even when they get spaces, don't allow them to shoot. They've been unbelievable. Like, they've been really unbelievable. Chelsea have lost another game. They've dropped more points this campaign. However, I still think there is a lot of football to come, and Chelsea will be all right.